The brain forgets nothing. It just sometimes doesn't know where to put things. Trauma is exhausting for exactly this reason. You are forced to carry something that is finished, something that happened in the past, something that is already over. The body doesn't understand this. It continues to wait as if still inside that moment, as if that sound is still about to come, as if that door is still about to open. Muscles tense, the breath quickens, the mind goes on alert. This is why you find yourself at war with yourself. Because even if you know it has passed, there is something inside you that does not believe this and resists. Perhaps you have felt something like this too. You went through something very difficult a while ago, and now even though everything seems to be going fine, you feel that something inside you still won't give you permission. It won't let you rest, trust, or surrender. As if a door has been left open, as if someone inside is still keeping watch. This is your brain's mechanism for protecting you rather than a weakness. People generally see trauma as a mental problem, as if everything would be fixed if you simply change your thoughts, shifted your perspective a little. But trauma does not live only in thoughts. It lives inside the body, in the depths of the nervous system, in the connections between neurons. Focusing only on positive thinking without changing these connections is like praying for rain in the middle of a fire. You can see connections truly change. Yes, one remarkable thing about the human brain is that it is not fixed. It's never fully ready or complete in any absolute sense. It continuously keeps learning, restructuring itself, opening new pathways. The brain is a lot like a map, and maps can be redrawn. Now let us make this concrete. Imagine you grew up in a dangerous neighborhood. For years you walked the same streets, learned what was around each corner, knew which sounds meant you needed to be careful. You learned in detail which places were dark or which you needed to stay away from. Your brain drew the map of that neighborhood very well. Like a reflex, without thinking, you began to move by instinct to survive. Then you left that neighborhood and moved to a safe place. But the map in your brain still shows the old neighborhood. It looks for danger around every corner, thinks there is something behind every sound, because the new paths have not yet been drawn. The map of the safe neighborhood doesn't exist yet. What happens after trauma is exactly this. When we say building safe maps, we are talking in the most literal sense about opening new pathways in the brain, new connections between neurons. New reflexes begin to form, new signals of safety. This is not magic, it's simply something that takes time. Understanding how this works can change many things. The first step is through building safe relationships. This may sound simple. We might think of it as spending time with trustworthy people, but the matter goes a little deeper than that. A safe relationship creates a new reference point for the brain. When someone truly listens to you, when someone looks at you without averting their eyes, when someone makes you feel with their whole being that they are there, a dialogue begins between your nervous systems. Your body begins to read the calm of the person in front of you. Through this reading, a new regulation slowly begins in you as well. You could think of it as borrowing someone else's calm. You cannot yet find that calm within yourself, but the presence of the person beside you always you to breathe for a moment. Every breath, every quiet moment, every safe experience leaves a new trace in the brain. All of this happens gradually, often too small to notice. You may have serious doubts about whether there are trustworthy people around you. Many people truly struggle and face difficulties alone. Some people around us have shaken our trust so deeply that we became more cautious when approaching others too. So, telling such people to find trustworthy others doesn't really mean much and offers no solution. But there is something important to remember. Safety does not always have to begin with another person. Sometimes it can be a place, a quiet space, even a small source of light. A small corner, a cafe, a park. When you go there, you usually feel a sense of ease, and that is not a coincidence. The reason is that your brain has marked that place as safe. With each visit, the place begins to feel even safer. Sometimes this can also be a routine. Preparing your coffee at the same time every morning, or putting on the same music every evening. Something small, predictable, unchanging. This predictability proves to a nervous system shaped by a chaotic past that some things are consistent. Sometimes this sense of safety comes from an animal, a dog for example. When the dog comes to you and lies down beside you, that warmth, that heartbeat, that unconditional presence calms you too. Like magic, but actually this is something entirely related to the nervous system. And then there is self-compassion. I want to step back a little from this word, actually because it has been misused far too often. Things like take care of yourself, be kind to yourself were said, as if it were a kind of luxury or indulgence. But it is not like that. Self-compassion is actually something more radical. Most people who have experienced trauma are merciless toward themselves. They tend to blame themselves for weakness, for being stuck, or their shortcomings. Even if this attitude was initially shown by someone else, it's generally internalized over time. The result is that the person developed a tendency to criticize themselves without needing anyone from the outside. This is precisely where self-compassion comes in. Because self-compassion is not silencing that voice. It's not believing in that voice even when you hear it. In fact, it's placing a different voice in its place. A slower, softer voice. You went through something hard, but you are still standing. Look, this feeling will pass with time. This exercise may feel artificial at first. Talking to yourself this kindly may feel strange because you are not used to it. But as you repeat it, the gentle voice slowly seeps into your soul. It doesn't work as quickly or as deep as criticism does. It works slowly over time, making its way inside. Over time, the balance of power between these two voices begins to shift. Now, I want to talk about the role of the body, because when discussing trauma, skipping past the body is one of the greatest mistakes. The brain is not only inside the head. The body thinks in its own way, in a sense. When the stomach tightens, when the chest contracts, when the neck stiffens, these two are a kind of information. The body keeps storing this information as well. Most of the time, the conscious mind is not even aware of this. This is why, when building safety maps, the body must also be included in this process. Breath is the most fundamental element of this, because breath is one of the bridges between the unconsciousness and the conscious. Normally, breathing happens on its own, but if we wish, we can also control it. A slow, deep breath sends a direct message to the nervous system. there is no danger. You can slow down. This message may not show its effect immediately. The brain may initially resist believing it, but when repeated enough, this message becomes a habit. The brain learns to calm itself together with the breath. This too means a new pathway, a new connection. Another one of these elements is movement, especially rhythmic and repetitive movements. Walking, swimming, dancing. These kinds of rhythmic movements directly affect your nervous system. These activities can help release trauma that has become stuck in your body. But before all of these, perhaps the most fundamental thing is learning to notice moments of safety. Are you in danger right now? Is a danger signal coming from your body? Or is your brain simply redrawing an old map? Understanding this difference is not easy, because panic and anxiety feel very real in the body. Sometimes these feelings may be responding to a danger from the past, not the present. Being able to understand this is not very important. Instead of getting lost inside the feeling, learning to observe it from a distance becomes essential. It helps to recognize that this feeling may be coming from the past, and to remember that you are safe right now. Becoming aware of this distinction even once opens a new pathway in our mind. With each repetition, our observing side develops a little more. And as it grows stronger, the old reflexes loosen a little more. The maps are being redrawn. There is an image that comes to my mind every time I think about this subject. Imagine someone walking through a dark forest with a small lantern in their hand. With each step, the lantern illuminates only 1 meter ahead. Everything else remains dark, but that 1 meter is enough to take 1 step. With each step we take, the path left behind becomes a little more familiar. The brain memorizes the path, and the next time you walk through the forest, it feels a little less frightening. Healing is something like this. You don't have to see the whole at once. In fact, seeing it all at once seems impossible. Seeing 1 meter ahead is entirely sufficient. Moving forward on this journey does not mean there will be no weak moments. Weak moments will always continue to exist. The old reflexes will sometimes return. There will be times when, after feeling safe, you suddenly go on the defensive again. This is not going backward. It is the brain checking in again. It is the brain's way of reinforcing the feeling of being safe. And it becomes our task to remind ourselves of this. By returning to the body, to the breath, to safe places, to trusted voices, we must affirm the feeling of being safe. As a result of these small affirmations and this training, one day the brain no longer needs to ask these questions. A new map has been drawn. New pathways have been opened. As a result of all of this, we begin to exist in the present by leaving the weight of the past in the past. Only in the present moment and beyond our anxieties.